Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to show you how to make a grid map, and we're going to use this for our cutting. I would advise anyone who's not really got a lot of experience in sewing to create one of these and to use this to help you in understanding a lot of the measurements. Because I use a grid mat which is fixed on the table. I actually don't use it for that purpose, but obviously my sewing is a lot more advanced than majority of the viewers. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and then what I'm going to be doing with this is using it in other places. Obviously I use the cutting table here. A lot of people don't have facilities to cutting tables, or they may use a dining table, and if you're using a dining table, then I would suggest making one of these and placing that on top of the table prior to cutting, and that way, one, it'll safeguard your table, and secondly, it will help you in the cutting as well. So the fabric that you want to choose is like a fairly stiffish one, but at the same time you need to be able to fold it and to put it away safely. Okay, preferably one with stripes, because it'll help you when you're marking it out. It'll help you a lot more than an absolute plain fabric, because we're going to be doing a lot of markings. Now you can get the written up fabrics as well, even with markings as well, but anyway, for anyone who doesn't have that, then I suppose if you've got a piece of fabric, cotton fabric piece lying around, you can even create it out of that. But if you're going through all that trouble of making it, then you know what, invest in a little bit of a good fabric to do that in, because the last thing you want to be doing is spending all that time and then, you know, the fabric's no good. Okay, so the next thing we want is we want a good marker, and I'm just having a search through all my bits and bobs to see where I can. I think my grandkids have got to all my markers yesterday. Okay, I'm just gonna, the fabric that you need for this is about 2 meters, and you want it in a 60-inch wide. This one's not that strong, but it'll do for markings, and then we'll try and find one which is a little bit more prominent. Okay, now you want to leave a little bit of, lay it on a flat safe surface and start marking. And for marking you can use a tape measure, or if you've got a ruler like this you can use that. Just for your guidance I will use a tape measure, because I don't want anyone complaining that we didn't have the facilities that you had. Now what we want to do is we want to leave a little bit of space on either side of these markings. So we're going to use a little bit away from the edges, approximately maybe 6 inches away on either side. Okay, so 6 inches away on either side. We're going to leave that as blank, and then going down we want to mark at every 1 inch. We want to do a mark every 1 inch. Okay, so mark that down at every 1 inch all the way down to your 60 inches. Now that's going to take you a little bit of time, because marking each one, and you're going to be marking this along in both the directions. So we've done it on the one side, and then we want to do it on the other side. Again, we're going to be using 1 inch on every mark all the way going across. So this is going to take me a little bit of time. What I'll do is, in the meantime, I will mark this out. I will turn this video off, and I will hopefully once all marked out and the lines all drawn in, we will come back and work accordingly. So that's your homework for the day. Mark out your grid all the way and start drawing lines. When you've got gadgets like these, it always makes the job easier. This is a tea measuring thing. I've very rarely used it but I had it lying around, so I'm going to use it for this measuring grid. It just makes the job a little bit easier because it stops the need for constant it makes the need for the constant measurements to stop, okay, because obviously it's got marked out. And tailors in Pakistan, they often use stuff like this. Personally, I am a guesswork person and I don't tend to use, but what you want to do is, it's time consuming, and I'm not going to say it's it's not going to take you time, but obviously whenever you do something like this, the main reason why you're doing it is to make the end thing a lot easier for yourself. Okay, so as you can see, I've marked along the lines, and now I'm just marking across at 1 inch intervals. So if I keep it level here, I can get it level the other way. And because this grid thing is the grid thing that I'm creating is quite big, obviously it's going to take me a little while to get all these markings across. And once you've marked them all across, it will, you can do the overlock the edges or turn over the edges, and this will actually help you along in so many of your future projects. So once you've got it marked out, okay, these have been marked out obviously both ways, and what I want to do is mark these with their relevant numbers so we know where the inch marks are. So I'm not I might be very good at sewing, but when it comes to my written work, I'm terrible. My writing is absolutely horrendous. Okay, you want to mark all these edges out with where I am. That's where I've marked them out. And then you want to go across as well. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you want to go across both ways. And following this method, you want to create your grid table. Now, the way this is going to help you is, obviously, if I am going according to a grid, then I can place this on my grid. And you will be able to see just how level, because obviously you've got guidelines of the lines, how level this is lying, and also you will be able to see where I have cut what from. So that would sort of give you a more precise measurements. Okay, so if we've got a grid over here and we're taking, it sort of helps you at the top here we're on 4, and then if we're following that line down, how many inches down where we've cut it to. So if you follow this sort of example, then you know that this is like the front crotch area. Okay, you know that there's a slant of 1 inch that I've taken off. It's level here, but it's been slanted 1 inch down. Then you know that this is 4 inches going down. This is so many inches going down, and then you're angling it whereabouts you're angling it, and then you know this is the thigh area and just how much. Anyway, a long term I think it will work to your benefit. I would highly suggest you know, making one of these, because the beauty of this is going to be that you're going to, obviously it's going to take me time and I haven't got time to finish this off, but in my spare time I'm going to take this along and finish this off. I've sort of marked it out, but what I'm going to do is finish it all off. And then the beauty of this is that, you know, in any room, if you're cutting out, whether you're cutting out on the floor or whether you're cutting out on the dining table, you can actually just fold this and put it away, and you know, it'll obviously keep your floor clean as well, and it's gonna be easy to cut on as well. Okay, so that's just a little bit of advice for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this and I'm going to take it upstairs, and when I'm sitting down not doing anything else, then I'm going to finish cutting this, and then for my future projects I am going to use this, because I've got to do some wider salwars which are going to be patella salwars, and I'm going to put this on the floor. The table's not big enough to cut them, so I'm going to use the floor to actually cut, and I'll put this on the floor and then guide you along. So in the meantime, get busy and get creating one of these, and hopefully when you're next time you join me for the patella salwar tutorials, then you know that will, I'm going to just overlock the edges of this, because then that will stop any threads. This is like a bit of a nasty thingy with the threads, so we're going to overlock the edges of this and prepare this for the next future floor lessons. That's what they're going to be, putting on the floor lessons.